Good morning.
Stop doing that. Nobody enjoys that.
Good afternoon.
Oh my God, so loud. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
Welcome to our lives.
Number 55. If you haven't been here before, you can ask questions ahead of time. You can go through direct message. Sometimes on our Instagram stories, we have prompts where you can ask questions. Please try to include the breed and age of the dog when you inquire. You are quite wiggly. Very, very wiggly. Look at this little puppy. Who is this again? Teddy. I knew that. I already asked.
And please ask questions in the chat as well. We only have 4 questions today. We can talk with 1 question for 4 hours, but I'm just saying, if you want to ask more questions, we'd love to get
today would be the day to do that. All right. So Taylor says, excuse me. 5-month-old Greater Swiss Mountain Dog, barking. So 5 months old. Okay, really large breed dog. So already humongous, even at 5 months old. Barking at people and dogs while on walks and in our yard. I usually try to distract her with treats if I see the people first. Okay, so it's people too. But if I don't, it's difficult to get her focus back on me. I've used other commands like touch. Is there anything else I can do? It seems like she's barking out of fear. And then she's very friendly once she gets to greet people and dogs. Thank you.
So it sounds like almost like the anticipation of seeing them.
Like nervous, unsure.
Yeah, hesitation. So maybe not fear, just a slight nervousness. But you're using food. We love that. You're using touch to get the focus to you.
That can build drive. That's good.
So I think maybe you're just waiting a second too long to get that touch. Because if the dog is already focused on the people and you're losing the ability to get the touch, that means they're above threshold. Threshold for us in the training world just means that when a dog hits threshold, that's when you lose the focus and it's really hard to get it back. And you got to kind of walk them away from it to get it. So what I would do is the minute you see the dog's eyes lock on this person, dog, cat, squirrel, whatever it is, you see those ears shift and you get that like drive kicking in. That's when I would name, come, or name, touch, whatever you're using and try to move opposite from the distraction. But I wouldn't just move opposite. I'd move opposite and continue moving until I can gain focus and get enough ability to give food and for them to take it and ignore the distraction. And as you do this more and more, you build up the food drive. I've even skipped meals and used the meal on the walk. So if I normally feed them at 7, but I take my walk at 7:38, I won't feed them at 7 and I'll take that meal in a training pouch at that 8 o'clock walk, and they're hungry and they're motivated to focus more on me and I can get more food drive. You want to add?
Oh yeah.
I know you do. Go.
I've been so good over here.
I know. I'm so surprised that no interruptions. Like I think you're scaring them. Are you okay? Are you sick?
I'm okay. No. I was trying to be nice. Okay, so everything he said, and then just to kind of put more framing on it, because you said you always try to see the people first. Don't do that. Stop looking around and look.
Activity. Oh, that's how that feels? Okay, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Stop looking around and look at your dog. And what I mean by that is he said eyes locked on focus, ears, wrinkly forehead, ears forward. So ears to the side or pinned back is fearful or calm, okay? So I'll take either. It means they're in a passive state, submissive state, calm state, fearful state. All of those are okay, all right? You can work with that. But as soon as those ears go forward or they lock eyes on something, like he said, which is probably when the ears are going to go forward, you can, I was going to kind of use this little guy as an example. So his little ears are back right now, and he did look outside he did look briefly outside and his ears went forward because there's a dog out the window. That would be the moment that I would be like, Teddy, come, good boy. That would be the moment I would interrupt the cycle of arousal. If your dog is already barking, you're too late. You've missed your moment. You've missed your teaching moment. And you're too late. You have to just give as much distance as you can till the dog calms down. Then you can start to work on your touch or your turns or whatever you're doing. The other thing I would say is whether you're late or whether you're early, continue to work that moment. So if you're doing touch and you're moving backwards several steps, touch, good, and food, or you're just doing let's go and turn and walk, let's go and turn and walk. You need to do that about 10 times for every situation, okay? Either before you get close to the person or dog, you may not even know why. You may just see the ears go. That's arousal. So do about 5 to 10 turns or touch commands, okay? It's not about distracting your dog. He used the word distract. I think you used the word distract or avoid or something. That's not truly what it is, just to kind of be really specific. You're not avoiding and you're not distracting. The dog is distracted or hyper-focused, and you're pulling the focus back onto you. Okay, so that's what we're trying to achieve here. That's what can build confidence and help your dog understand that it doesn't matter if they're happy or sad or scared or aggressive or want to chase a squirrel. You're number one. That's all we're trying to accomplish here when it comes to all levels of arousal, is that no matter how they're feeling, they need to still listen to you. That's what you're trying to cultivate. And then just one more thing is, don't only do it when it's hard, also do it when it's easy. So you could just be bored on a walk, practice it on the walk to build context and drive and muscle memory, and then you got a dog behind a fence barking. Do the turns or the touch until it's easy, then bubble way out or cross the street as that dog is barking, and then do it again with the barking a little bit behind you. Same with people, things like that. In your yard, that's going to be tough because your dog feels like it's their space. So they're going to be more comfortable to behave that way, whether it's fear or territorialness. And so I would suggest making sure your dog is always on a leash, outside, a long line if you want. That way you can always pick up that long line and guide them. Leash is key for the yard. Anything
I also
else?
do it inside too.
Yeah.
You start
Yeah.
all this inside when they're younger.
Yeah.
Build it up for all of our young puppies out there. These should be routines that you've been working on already. If not, start doing them now. If you're going to do front yard and you notice that you have a lot of distraction out there, I would bring a place out there. Dog bed, place cot, whatever you guys use, and then put them on the place and then redirect them away, redirect them to it, redirect them away, redirect them to it. And then when you eventually get to the walk, I want to break down a little bit farther. Not just doing one or two creates a distraction from the distraction. 10 to 15 creates training
Focus.
mode.
Creates
you build
focus. Yeah.
through training mentality. Yeah. It actually triggers. You do maybe 3 of them. The dog is looking at you, but then looking back, looking at you, then looking back.
You need to keep
10
going.
to 15 of them,
Yep.
and now your dog is watching you because you're the source of the food. You're the source of the thing that they want.
It doesn't.
They know they should follow.
It doesn't matter that the distraction is long gone. What matters is what is the lasting emotion in that moment that your dog has, and it should be focusing on you.
Over 3 to 4 weeks and 300 to 400 repetitions later, your dog is going to see a dog or a person and look up at you because that is a trigger. That is a muscle memory that you formed.
Or at least hesitate before they react.
That's probably more realistic.
That's yeah. Hesitate before they react, giving you longer windows of time to interrupt the arousal before you get the barking. Please work for food in the house. I just had a Chihuahua. I was talking to trainers about it earlier, and one of the things they said were like, "Oh, we tried to build food drive." Hey, excuse me, you're distracting. We tried to build food drive. How did you get this food drive with the puppy? And it wasn't hard. I was like, I just worked her for all of her meals. And if she didn't want to work, she didn't eat. And it took like beginning, middle of the day. By nighttime, she was very eager to eat her food and do some work.
And work for all of it.
Yeah. Now you have a humongous dog, like that probably eats 4 cups a day, so you might not get to that point. But you definitely, as long as your dog's not overly skinny, you can have them skip a meal or two. You're still offering it to them, but they may not eat it all, and eventually they will. Work for food inside and in the yard. Out on walks, you might need treats. Okay, let's move on.
Cassie
Capel.
Oh, thank you. I almost went in my mouth. All right. Also, 15-week golden doodle. Part 1, part 2. How to keep 15-week golden doodle from biting and chewing on everything. Also, 15-week golden doodle does not follow commands without the good traits.
That's normal. It's a baby.
It's food drive. So it's actually what she was just saying. You got to start working them for their meals. You might have to Work them for the first meal, they don't want to work, they don't eat that meal. Second meal, by third meal, they're going to be scarfing the food down, working for every piece of their kibble.
Yeah, but they'll still have the same problem. He won't do anything without food. That's because he's 15 weeks old.
Yeah, but she's mainly saying he won't do anything without good treats.
Without the good treats. Okay,
so we want to work for the kibble.
But the same thing's going to happen with the kibble.
Eventually,
so even when you bring it down to the kibble, your puppy's still not going to pay attention to you without the food.
But it's 15 weeks old. I'm okay with that.
That's my point. That's what I'm trying to tell her.
So why'd you interrupt me? I was working to it.
Because you didn't get the... Okay, anyway, sorry, Cassie. We're having a spat. So anyway, the same thing's gonna happen with the kibble, and our point is that's okay. Don't worry about it. You do need to start phasing out treats, and honestly, go on Google and just search how to wean off of treats, and you'll get so many different ideas. What I like to do is I like to do a heavy lure for a while, so I'll have a piece of food in my hand for all the come, sit, down, stay, walk back, come, and put it right in front of their nose if I need to, sit, place, and they still haven't gotten the piece of kibble. So I'm still luring, but they're doing many, many things for that piece of kibble before I give it, and then mix it up. Then they get a few pieces of kibble in a row, and then you make them do 5 commands first. The other way I like to wean off of treats is I still do the hand motions, okay? Still doing the hand motions as if I had food, but then I say, good, pause, reach into pouch, then deliver the food. That's another way to wean off when you're ready. There's lots of different ways. So anyway, big yawn.
I would do probably 2 to 3 weeks of giving some serious foodage to really get that focus, that strong lure like she was mentioning.
For everything.
But I mean, we probably by the 3rd week of our program, we're getting come, sit, good, pause, 2-3 second pause, and then treating all the way up to come, sit, down, stay, stand up tall, pause, good treat.
I think that's the big one. We don't want to overrun what he just said, is you start to, even when you're using food for every command, you very quickly want to start going good,
pause,
then deliver the food.
We call it removing instant gratification. Your puppies live in the world of constant instant
fancy.
gratification.
Wait, don't overrun that. That was very fancy. Removing instant gratification.
That's your sit, good treat.
I think we could all use that.
Come, good. Sit, good, treat. So now instead of them wiggling for their food, they're sitting there. And when I see them, that's when I give them food.
You're doing excellent.
To be released.
You're doing excellent acting as a dog today. I just want to say, this is very, very good.
My day.
It's very good.
My mom literally named me Sparky. I'm pretty sure when I was younger,
she used to
it's true. Fantasize about having a little dog. She can have a dog in her apartment.
When I first met Sparky, I was like, okay, come on, what's your real name? Come on.
He's like, pull out the ID.
He's like, no, it's Sparky. I'm like, no, come on, what's your real name?
I think my mom was a bit of a hippie.
She's definitely a hippie. All right, part 2.
First part of the question. Well, that was technically part 2.
Well,
we answered part 2.
We got that.
Part 1. Chewing but from biting and chewing on everything. So biting you guys, that's gonna. 1, leash is your go-to, and you might want to eliminate some of the freedom. And I'm not saying you give your puppy a lot of freedom, but
he's being quiet.
Stop making them facial expressions. They can't keep a straight face to it. Laughing because he's biting you.
He's biting.
So 1, puppies don't need a ton of freedom when they're younger. Most of the time we say give them a lot of structured and even structured free time. And I know if you look at our schedule and you DM'd us for the schedule, I'm learning. You DM'd us for the schedule, we'll say free time is like their little block of being out of the crate. It's still structured. It's walk and play on leash, training on leash, supervised separation, either on a back tie, on leash, or in the playpen. It still means that when your dog starts jumping up and biting at you, it's pressure up, hold the leash, pause, they settle down, relax the arm. You can even do pressure up for bigger dogs. Step in and kind of bump them with your body to back them up. And the second they back off and kind of give you that look, come, place, sit, down, good. No food yet. No food, no instant gratification. Because then you're saying, hey, off, sit, good treat. And they're like, oh, that's great. Jump, sit, food. Remove the instant gratification. Put them on place, trigger work mode, have them work a little bit harder for that food, and then you can start rewarding them because you've moved from correction with redirection to correction, redirection, reward stage of them wanting to work for you.
And just for the record, we would do something totally different with an 8 or 9 week old puppy. even 10, 11 week small breed puppy like this Yorkie versus a 15, 16 week old puppy that's kind of venturing into adolescence. They change so quickly, guys. So that's why we want the age of the puppy, because I would say if that was an 8, 9 week old dog, I'd be like, Sparky, no, wait, it's still a baby. We would redirect with food right away.
Is that what you do for this one?
How old is Teddy?
He's still young. Let's just pretend he's 8 weeks old.
So
he's not actually 8 weeks old. He's just a micro.
So if he was 8 weeks old, see now can of worms.
We got 4 questions.
Okay.
And literally 2 of them for one person.
Okay.
Some on Instagram.
Okay, we will get to those, but let me
gotcha.
open the can of worms that he cracked it. I'm going to open it. So what Teddy was doing earlier to me was just gnawing on me like a soft mouthing.
It's teething.
Which is clearly from teething. Yeah.
Kneading, I think they call it.
Kneading, yeah. It's from teething, and also just because he's just so young, he's a baby. Now, I wouldn't encourage it, but I'm not going to be like, no leash pressure, body block, cut it out.
You're going to have a dog very afraid of you in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, for something softer like that. He's a little frustrated because he wants to move around and he can't. But see, he's licking me. See all the yawning,
Which, by the way, we're okay with him being a little bit frustrated from being held in one spot.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to teach him how to settle down and be calm for your guys' benefit of watching that.
So, well, I was just trying to keep him quiet, but it's fine. Okay, anyway, so
just go with it.
I mean, exactly what he said. So anyway, a lot of that, if that's what I was getting from your puppy, I would just redirect, honestly. More structure, and build up my food work on our online. We have an online school that really goes through step by step what to do with a new puppy. And one of the biggest commands we focus on, which is the opposite of what clients usually focus on, is just come and reward with food. Movement, building drive, building focus for food.
Building relationship.
Everyone wants to do sit, place, stay, to a puppy, wait, things like that. And they do need to be working on thresholds and crate, but the other thing is to build drive and fun to come to me. So anyway, that's what I would be doing with him. If I was dealing with a 14-week-old border collie pup that was literally puncturing the back of the family's ankles, which happened. This is why I'm bringing this very specific 14-week-old border collie, super sweet and actually really soft, not even that driven of a border collie, was scraping and bleeding the backs of the family's ankles. That is a no already. You know what I mean? So there's a difference in different types of mouthing that I just want you guys to kind of take into account. What if that was an 8-week-old
puppy doing that? What would you do?
I'd still do a no.
Still do no.
Yeah,
okay, that's important though.
Because it's
There's
instinct, intention to control or harm or get their way. Or
so because you're an 8-week-old puppy who's doing it doesn't mean that they don't have the intention to control your movements. If we have intention, like there's malintent behind an action, then yes, we will still correct it. If it's a puppy doing little puppy biting because they're honestly pissed off and frustrated, then yeah, we'll just try to redirect it as much as we can. But also, there may be a point to where this dog's been out of crate for about 20 minutes, and in another 10 minutes, I would say absolute cap. It needs to go back in the crate and sleep and relax, because now puppy's cranky. Look, she finally got him to settle down. We probably have about 3 to 4 minutes of this, maybe 7 if we're lucky, of him being calm. And the minute he gets back up and is frustrated, we're going to hand him off to Ricky, and Ricky's going to hand him off to another trainer who will maybe walk him around for 1 or 2 more minutes and then guide him back to crate for a little nap. We don't want to end on a bad note. We want to end on a positive note, so we'll still do a little bit of food work before we're going back to the crate.
And even though we're talking about structure, that's what Sparky was talking about, and what to do, with address. Yeah, you talked about crate and really stuff. Quick. Structure and how to address it. You also have to understand, if you're doing 10 minutes twice a day of food work, focused food work in the house with little to no distractions, in 2 weeks, half of your mouthing is going to go away anyway, most likely.
All of that's in the online school.
All of that's in the online school. But the point is, they see you as excitement and letting them out of crate, and then they get to run around the yard, and then you give them a few treats for 3 or 4 sits, and that's your training. It's like, no, you need to take their food and do focused 10-minute intervals of food work 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. I'd say just at least 2, so they start to view you differently, not as a pushover emotional human. Okay, so let's go to
Diego. Welcome back. I love your questions.
How to introduce a new puppy to another dog who isn't friendly. You don't.
Yeah, you don't introduce them. You create strong boundaries and you keep the puppy on a leash and you make sure that the unfriendly dog doesn't have access to the puppy to scare your puppy.
I cannot tell you how many clients come to us that have traumatized their new puppy because the older dog in the home just kept snapping at them, kept correcting them, kept dominating them, and then started fights. And then by the time that puppy is an adolescent dog, they're either reacting to other dogs because that's what they've learned how dogs interact, or they're full on fighting with the older dog in the home because now they're an adolescent. They're bigger and stronger and they have their hormones. So we don't want to just throw you out, like just push you off, Diego, but we would never do that. Your job is to raise a puppy to be the dog and companion you want them to be. So just like your kids, whoever is in that circle with your puppy is influencing them to view how they're going to view the world. So if they have a dog that's not friendly and is very dominating, snaps easily at them, or full on gets tired of them, so they're attacking them, once a month, then that puppy's going to be messed up.
I have a client right now that has an older dog at home. Older dog's not friendly. Client now has another sibling as well. That's another one of my clients, and their two dogs play really well together. But now they said, okay, we want them to not play together anymore. We want them to play with other dogs. I said, okay, well, let's see how they do. They are completely standoffish to any other dog without that exact play style. And I actually learned a little bit more from it. It's the older dog at home that's very standoffish towards them and gives these very, very strong corrections to the two puppies to shut them down so they don't play with them anymore, but then is okay with play in other situations. So I have to tell these clients that because your older dog has taught them to give severe corrections to the puppies to stop them from trying to play with them, your puppies are now giving severe corrections to other puppies anytime they don't want to be played with.
Because they get uncomfortable quickly.
Correct.
And they resort to that.
And the problem with that is there's no intermediate. There's no signs of like, hey, I'm getting uncomfortable. Like most puppies, when they're nervous, they'll kind of hunch back a little bit, ears will go back, or like they'll drop their position, and it gives us a cue to step in and create space for them so they can relax, settle until they're ready to jump back into the play group. That's our job as their leaders of the group of play, or even as just owners to our pups. But because of that, they don't have those verbal cues because it's so quick from an older dog to a younger dog. So if you have your dog trying to play with this or being introduced to the unfriendly dog, your dog is very quickly going to learn how to give those instantaneous cues to other animals that they don't want to play. We don't want that. We want the nuance that comes in between that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's give you a better strategy though. So 6 months, these dogs don't spend time off leash together. Mm-hmm. You can have your puppy, once you've trained them to be able to target place with some minor distractions, you can put your puppy in place next to you on leash, and then maybe the dog that doesn't have a lot of tolerance is just in the room. But if that dog approaches you, you have to have the commanding leadership in your home to be able to say, no, get back, not right now, get back. And your dog won't take it personal and will turn around and go in the corner. So your puppy can be around but not off leash, okay? Don't let your older dog be like, well, I'm gonna come over here and check out that puppy. It's like, no, I don't need you to do that. I've got it. And in 6 months of really working with your puppy on leash, and then maybe the two dogs can start to go on walks together. Because basically your puppy needs more maturity before the not so tolerant dog might tolerate him. You could also try playpen. If your puppy's small enough, put him in a playpen and let your older dog be around him. Because if he just gets used to the puppy, it doesn't mean he's going to tolerate the puppy jumping on his face. But if you spend these early months with playpen and then crate as well, and your older dog just gets used to the scent and sight and mannerisms of your puppy, by the time you have better control and training over your puppy and you can let them out together potentially, it won't be like out of nowhere, because then your dog will absolutely potentially attack. Or have a low threshold before he snaps. But if your dog has been around your puppy every day for at least 30 minutes to an hour or more, if you have time, in some sort of controlled context, you'll be way better off. Okay, can we move on to some questions?
No, I just want to go over one more thing, because I'm pulling context as I look at this question more and more. Diego, if this is a dog that lives in the house with your dog,
that's what I was going off of.
Do everything she just said.
Yeah, that's what I was going off of.
If this is a friend's dog that you're going to see once every couple weeks or once every couple months,
don't bother.
Just don't bother.
Yeah.
It's not worth the effort, and there's a lot of nuance. She's a professional dog trainer. Everything she just said is challenging. This is not an easy thing. You're going to put a ton of effort in what she just said.
It's a piece of cake.
Yeah, a piece of cake. That's why we get paid the big bucks for it. But if you don't have a dog that you're going to see every single day, don't even try this. It's not worth risking your puppy in the situation, and your puppy is still going to pull some of the habits from this not friendliest dog.
It'll still pull habits, yeah.
Yeah, no matter what.
Okay,
if
let's
you live
get
with
a
the
question
dog,
now.
then you could try. Stop.
What do we got?
How do you introduce a puppy to a cat that has been at the house for 2 years?
Same exact thing we just said.
Repeat the question so people can hear.
Yeah. So
also, it is our blog topic this week, and we have your video on the blog too.
Oh, cool. Okay, so the question is, how do we introduce a puppy or dog to a cat? The cat has already been in the home for a while. We actually have a blog and a video, a YouTube video coming out that is out that goes over this very specifically. But basically, it's very similar. You want the dog or puppy in a space that's safe, like a pen or a crate, and just or behind a baby gate. That's actually what I prefer. I don't like the dog to feel closed off. And just see what the initial interaction is with cat on one side, dog on the other. Always make sure your cats have some shelving in the room as well as a cat tree, so they always can get up and get away if they need to. That is so important.
To the cat tree for the dog.
Yes, yeah, or teach the dog not to bother the cat tree because it's not theirs, it's the cat's. But that's a whole other thing.
I have the other side as well.
And just
also
go slow.
Advocate for the dog as well.
And just go
I've known
slow.
some very pushy cats that we focus so strongly on making sure the dog doesn't invade the cat's boundary.
Because we know what dogs do to cats.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then we also see the cat starting to get more comfortable with the dog. Dog's on place, cats invade their space. That's not fair to dog either, because now that's a high stimulation environment. I even have a client that the cat would come up, paw the dog in the face, and the client thought the dog was playing.
Like whack the dog in the face, and the dog would be like, "Oh my God, I didn't do anything," and that's away. Bad. That's bad too. Yeah. So anyway, please check that out. Can we do another question?
That's it.
Oh, that's it. We didn't have any on Instagram.
There's more questions.
I thought there was more.
There's one about getting a German Shepherd not to jump on you, but there's no age.
Okay, well, we can do, German Shepherd, let's pretend that this German Shepherd is 12 weeks old to start with. And so the short version of that is
Repeat the question.
Oh yeah, that's right. So German Shepherd is jumping on the owner. We don't know the age of the German Shepherd.
We're making up an age.
We're going to make up 2 ages.
Let's say 12 and 20.
First is 12 weeks old, 20 years old, 20.
Yeah, 20 years old.
20 weeks old? No, we'll do like 8 months. And can you let me drive?
24 weeks.
Let me drive.
I have 1 minute.
I'm going to drive. So 12 weeks old, little German Shepherd puppy. You want to literally, if you aren't on a schedule, you should DM us for our crate rotation schedule. But if your puppy is free in the home, he needs to be on leash, and you need to have a training pouch on you at all times. And if your puppy is free, you still want to make sure you have a training pouch with food, because if this little guy, he's being so good now, I don't want to do it. But if this little guy, if he's a 12-week-old German Shepherd, they're already double the size, and he jumps up on me, I'm gonna bump my knee into him, and I'm gonna go no, and then I'm gonna take food and go sit, good, come, sit, good. And then I hope you're teaching place. If not, that's when place and come are the 2 commands you need to be teaching. And you teach place and give a piece of food. So do a few commands to redirect them. And then only take 2 steps. And if they come towards your feet all excited again, stand up straight, bump off, no. And then 2 steps. Movement and petting causes
Are you saying come with those 2 steps? What are you doing?
No. So I'm just walking. I'm just walking. Okay. So I'm testing the dog. So if my movement is thank you for the clarification. If the puppy is stimulated by my movement and they're biting ankles or jumping up on me, I only take 2 steps and wait and see what the puppy does. A few more steps. That way you're addressing their energy and teaching them what you want them to do every step of the way. If it's a 6, 7, 8-month-old dog, you're using the leash, you're correcting them more firmly. There's not necessarily food because you've done your food work. 2
steps are into them, backing
yes,
them away,
you actually
versus to the side or
yeah,
away.
You actually move into them, it's not like a little bump off and a redirection.
Off.
It's like, hey, knock it off, get out of my space. But we want to make sure that you're doing that consistently in all areas. Does your puppy know how to wait at the front door? Can you go and get the mail with your 6-month-old puppy waiting at the front door? Because you should be able to. Are they waiting to come out of crate? If they stay in your bedroom,
that's a big one.
If they stay in your bedroom instead of crate, which is bad, but anyway, no, it's really not. If you're doing good with that, keep it up. But are they waiting at your bedroom door when it opens, your back door, even to go potties? Do they wait at thresholds? Do they wait for food calmly, not like shaking, waiting to be released? Can you calm them down in other situations, not just being demanding with this one thing? Nothing lives in a vacuum. So if you're too demanding with one thing, that doesn't land with the dog and they'll get frustrated and even anxious. So you've got to make sure that your training lifestyle matches all levels of overexcitement, not just the jumping. You got anything to add? Are we done?
Solid.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.